This wasn't awkward, right? Right.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? People have been switching sides, it seems like, or slowly going into the middle when it comes to this whole situation with Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. In the very beginning, I think that there have been a lot of co-stars from the It Ends With Us cast going out and soldiering for Blake Lively. And I understand why. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But now people are starting to change their ways. Now people are starting to shift gears a little bit. And what's really, really interesting about this is Gayle King. She had Brandon Sklenar on the show. He was the love interest in the movie, or, you know, the other love interest, if that makes any sense, in the movie. He is out promoting his show 1923. Obviously, he's had a budding career, before, while this whole thing has been going on. All right. And what's interesting is, she went in and she asked him some very strange questions that I think that a lot of us want to know, right? And let's be real, Gayle does ask she says the quiet part out loud for sure within this interview, basically saying, are you team Blake Lively or team Justin Baldoni? Straight to his face. And like I said before, he's been out here saying team Blake in the very beginning, but now he has changed his tone. And I think I can only imagine for good reason, right? But also staying in the middle and just not saying anything. I think he's also doing that to stay diplomatic and not get into the drama, right? And also save his career, because he also is, he also still is an actor. He probably is being represented by WME. I wouldn't be surprised if he is okay. So clearly he's going to try to skate on this thin ice as delicately and as masterfully as he can without losing his gigs and without him losing his jobs. Let's be real, okay? He's got a lot riding for him, okay? If he was to sit there and say, I'm Team Justin, he'd be axed, guys. So let's take a listen to this interview that I'm talking about.
You're also, the last time you were talking about the movie It Ends With Us, which has turned into a big major story between Blake and Justin.
Big problem.
I'm wondering what you're thinking about that, processing it, navigating it. It doesn't involve you, but because you're in the cast, I'm wondering what you're thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I just want people to remember why we made the movie in the first place and what it stands for, and just keeping the focus on that. Like that movie meant so much to me, and I have someone very, very close to me in my life who's gone through what Lily's going through for a long time, and I've been on the front lines helping her navigate that space. So that movie meant a lot to me. Yeah, and it means a lot to her, this person in my life, and it was one of the reasons that me doing that film gave her the strength to change her life. So like,
You say
okay. Now, first off, very nicely said, right? But clearly he's filling up some time, so he doesn't want to, he doesn't want this thing. He doesn't want to answer the question. Clearly, he doesn't want to answer the question that is being asked. Clearly. She's basically saying it in a very flowery, very, interviewee type of way. But she gets to the point. She gets right to it here in a second. But he's dancing around the answer, right? He's beating around the bush instead of actually just saying, okay, I may have said this before, but, I've changed my opinion. You know what I mean? He's going, no. Let's get back to the root of why this movie was made, bringing awareness to DV and all that, right? And great answer. Good answer. Because, yes, it is true. What has been lost? What has been lost in the sauce? The purpose of what that movie was really made for. Not the drama behind it, but the actual message. It was there to create and the conversations that need to be had out here in these streets, right? So he's got a point, but he clearly isn't wanting to answer the question that she asks him. And also, clearly this was a practiced and rehearsed answer. For a fact, every time he goes out and he promotes 1923 or any other movie that he has going on in the next year, people are going to be asking him that question. So of course he had some sort of PR person being like, no, you just need to say bring it back to the message of the movie, why the movie has been made, right? But let's continue on, because she says the quiet part out loud. Finally,
They focus on that.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. So it's unfortunate that things get taken away from what the ethos of that thing is, and it gets convoluted. And I just want to remind people of why that thing exists in the first place.
In other words, can we not ask me that question ever again? Because this is a waste of time, and I'm not going to talk about it.
Imagine at this point you're Bennett. You said I'm not in it, but are you Team Blake or Team Justin?
She says the quiet part out loud right there. She finally just gets straight to the point. Team Justin, Team Blake. Team Justin and Team Blake. I just want to know, which one is it? And I feel like producers are probably saying that to her and the other three, but they're probably asking, or the other two, but they're probably asking her that question, or asking her to ask that question because it's Gayle. Maybe it won't be as big of a deal coming from Gayle if in comparison to it coming from the other two guys. I don't know. It's very interesting. And even so, I'm like, I get it that this is the morning show, but even so, I'm like, why are the other two guys there anyway? What are they doing there? I'm curious about that. But like I said, I don't know this segment of the show or anything of that sort, but I'm just curious why the other two men are really there for color commentary. It's very interesting. But nonetheless, she says, oh, I understand you ain't Bennett. You know, you Bennett and you ain't in it. But I got to know, Team Justin or Team Blake? Hilarious.
He said, I don't speak English, Gayle.
Team it ends with us.
Yeah.
He said, team it ends with us. He's like, chick, you really just asked me this? You really went there? All right, I thought I answered it fairly well, but yeah, promote my show. Promote it. Team it ends with us, okay? Shut up, okay?
And he's Team Taylor and
Yes, and he's
Paramount
Team
Plus.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Got a little nick on his knuckle there.
No. Congratulations,
Yeah.
Bennett. I didn't expect you to. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
You're not playing with him. You definitely wanted that answer. Come on now. Why would you ask it if you didn't want to get it answered? Real freaking talk. You could tell in his face. Look at that. You could tell in his face he don't want to be there. After that question, he's like, oh, this is awkward. You know, even you can see the tension in his shoulders. His shoulders are up now. You know, he's trying to be kind. He's trying to be nice. But now he really wants to get the hell out of that studio. He's like, I want to be here now. Why did you ask me that question? This is awkward as hell. Because you got to remember, too, like I said earlier, he in the very beginning was Team Blake. He was on her side. Team Blake. Now he's not. Now I can understand that, okay? Because we are all good people and we all want to believe the victim, you know, the alleged victim, as soon as that information comes out. So of course, as soon as he heard about that, the knee-jerk reaction is going, you're going to believe her. You're going to believe that person 100% and stand 10 toes down for that person, which is understandable. That just shows being a good person, what a good person usually does, right? What a good person does. Now, of course, now we live in a world where we need more evidence, we need more facts before we have the knee-jerk reaction and all that stuff as well. But of course, he's like, hey, I'm Team Blake at that time. But then information started to leak out, right? And his perspective has changed. But now he's between a rock and a hard place. What is that rock and a hard place? Let me explain. If I'm correct, he is actually represented by WME. Imagine if he was to go onto this show and say, I'm Team Justin. Whatever's happening to him right now is an absolute travesty, and it's justice for Justin, right? The owner, or not the owner, the CEO of WME is the person that actually axed Justin Baldoni from William Morris Endeavors. So Ari Emanuel, who is the CEO of WME, William Morris Endeavors, fired Justin Baldoni after all of this stuff that went down. So this man right here, okay, he is in some serious, he's like I said, between a rock and a hard place, because he can't really sit there and speak his truth, can't speak his mind. Because if he was to say, I'm against Blake and I'm with Justin, he could lose his gigs. He can get fired and he could be out here homeless. You know what I mean? Saying that he, back in the day, he once was in the pictures. He doesn't want that to happen. So of course he's going to sit there and say, I'm team, it ends with us. I'm going to say very diplomatic responses to whatever the drama is going on. Because, like Gayle said, his name is Bennett and he ain't in it. But if he was to really respond, what do you think he would say? Do you think he's really team Justin? Do you really think he's team neutral? Or is he still with team Blake? I feel like if he was still with team Blake, he would say it out loud. So clearly he's had a change of heart big time, but he can't say much because he doesn't want to lose his gigs. I'm sure he's living the lap of luxury, building his career and becoming the name that he wants to become. It's a pretty crappy situation, but that's Hollywood for you guys. That's Hollywood. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button, and we'll talk here soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.